We are sitting down with Command Sergeant Major of United States Army, Europe and Africa, Jeremiah Inman. Good afternoon, Sergeant Major. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. So when speaking of the soldiers and the community members, what are your expectations of the soldiers across the command in two theaters?
That's a pretty good question. I expect no more of the soldiers, civilians than I do from myself. Growing up in the military, it was physical fitness, marksmanship, battle drills, medical training, and developing leaders of character. And that's something that I've kind of stuck with for the past 35 years.
Okay, so a lot of that training goes into what's coming up is the Best Squad competition. So can you tell us how it's different from the Best Warrior competition?
So the Best Squad competition kind of goes with our theme that started about 2 years ago. This is my squad, right? We fight as squads, not as individuals. So the Sergeant Major of the Army came up with a plan to kind of how do we promote this a little bit further? We compete as a collective, not as individuals. This squad competition looks pretty good this year. Of course, it's our first time doing this. I think we have 10 squads that are going to compete this year. We've got close to 50 tasks and probably about 15 different lanes that they'll have to go through. It's going to be a great competition.
That's very cool. So when speaking of all these different tasks and drills and everything, is there anything unique in the U.S. Army Europe and Africa competition that won't be seen in any other Best Squad competition throughout the Army?
Probably the uniqueness will be in beautiful Bavaria. I honestly don't know what the other commands are going to do within their competitions. I know this year we did reach out to the commands ahead of time, and we shared what events would be required for the soldiers to compete on. So instead of sit on them and try to hide and give the soldiers some additional time to prepare and truly become expert on those tasks.
Okay, so being in your position and the amount of time you've been in the Army, what recommendations or advice would you have for squads that are looking to compete and prepare for this competition?
As it kind of goes back to the fitness, marksmanship, battle drills, medical training, continue to stick with that. We're individuals. We understand our weaknesses. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you've already answered your own question. I have a mentor, Ralph Puckett. We were just talking about him earlier. And he said, I didn't go to Ranger School to be better than the next guy. I went to Ranger School to be better than myself. So that's my advice to the competitors. Do something to be better than yourself.
That is very deep, Sergeant Major. So General Williams took command of U.S. Army Europe and Africa on 28 June. But in his speech, I remember he stated that readiness is his #1 priority. So with saying that, how does a competition like this connect with the commanding general's vision?
So readiness is #1. In squad competition. It doesn't start, the squad isn't the foundation of the readiness. It starts with the individual, the team, the squad, the platoon, the company and training staff that puts all that training together all the way up to HQDA to run the final competition. It touches on operational, strategic things we need to do to compete and win in our wars.
Okay. So is there anything else that you would like to add or state to the soldiers, families, and civilians within the command?
Well, first, thanks for taking time to do this. I appreciate it. I've kind of been hiding out for the last 6 months. I guess I finally got to work now. But I'd really like to say, thanks to the soldiers out there who have joined, soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines. When I joined the Army, it was to get out of Alaska as fast as I could. Most of you joined knowing that you're probably going to go to Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, or be tied to some other conflict where you have to fight for your partners on your left and your right. So sincerely, thanks for having the moral courage to stand up and be, part of that less than 1% that fights for their country.
Well, thank you so much. That was Command Sergeant Major Jeremiah Inman of United States Army, Europe and Africa.